Okay, welcome again. I think we'll start out by jumping into the quiz and taking a look at that. So let me share my screen. Okay, so I decided to use my example that I did in class a couple days ago. Shouldn't be any surprise, but I did make up the numbers. I couldn't find their data, so I had to make up some data. So researchers in Malaysia conducted a study to see if, among other things, knowledge of COVID-19 differs by age group. They conducted a survey asking people in 3 different groups several COVID-19 questions. Suppose the knowledge scores were as follows. And notice there's the 18 to 29-year-old group, 30 to 49-year-old group, and above 50 group. And those are the numbers that I made up, but the numbers, it could have been numbers, I'm sure they had numbers, I just didn't have them. And let's go and answer all the questions. Okay, the hope is this first one. Let me that way I can type it in. Okay, the hope is this first one. You should all know the answer, or you just weren't paying attention. What is the name of the test we're going to have to use for this?
ANOVA.
Yeah, this one's ANOVA. Okay, and I should mention something, and I'll probably mention again. Sometimes they call it one-way ANOVA. In our class, I've just called it ANOVA, and the reason that I'm only calling it ANOVA is that that's all we're doing. There is something called two-way ANOVA, but we're not doing that in this class, so good enough to just call it ANOVA. Any questions on part A? Okay, that wasn't supposed to be too hard. Okay, part B is write down the null hypothesis. Okay, and notice there are the 3 age groups, the 18 to 29-year-olds, 30 to 49, and above 50. Okay, let's call them young, medium, and old. Sound good? Just to make it easier for me. So I'm going to go and type in. So remember that with ANOVA, oh, before I do that, actually, I just remembered, actually, I can do this. So let's go H naught. It is a real pain to do colon in the equation editor. So that's why I'm going to use 2 different equations. And now, what should the first thing I write down be for the null hypothesis?
H naught. And
I already did that.
Mu.
So we're going to have a mu, so
And
Greek letter mu.
I don't remember the letters that you decide we were using today. So the first letter,
Yeah.
mu first
Call
letter.
them young, medium, and old.
Okay, mu y.
Yeah, so mu sub y.
Equals.
Equals.
Mu m.
Mu sub m.
Equals.
Equals.
Mu sub o.
Mu sub o. Any questions at all? Any questions at all on H naught? What's that?
No, because I see Anna.
That helps. Yeah, and again, if you didn't call it Y, M, and O, that, you know, if you have your own letters, you can. But you have to call them something. Okay. I like to use letters that are meaningful. So you can, you know, look at it again and say, oh yeah, the Y with a young one. I think that helps understand things. Okay, now we want to write down the alternative hypothesis, which looks very different than the null hypothesis, other than it's still H1. So with the alternative hypothesis, if you remember, it's not symbols, it's a sentence. And how does the alternative hypothesis start? First couple words.
At least 2.
Yeah, at least 2. And now of the population mean. So notice mu, the words for mu are population mean. You definitely need to have that down for the final exam. So if you have a mu in your H naught, then you say it without population mean. Don't just say mean or average, say population mean. Okay, so at least 2 of the population means differ. I'm gonna write by age. Or maybe even better by age group. Any questions on that? Okay, the next thing I asked is what is a test statistic and p-value? And given the fact that we're done with the class and this was the last thing we did in class, what number are we going to use for the calculator?
24 ANOVA.
Yeah, the last one. Okay, so I put them in order at which we do things. So the last one is ANOVA. So I click that. And I even decided to be extra nice to you. And you'll notice that it says write them separated by commas. And why am I saying I was extra nice to y'all?
Because you put them in commas up above, so we could
Yeah, it
copy.
means all you do is copy and paste. Actually down below, but yeah. Okay, so what I can do now is I can copy the first group. I can go into my ANOVA data 1. And I can paste the first group. Then I can go into the second group. Copy that one. And then I can paste that one. Then I can go into the third group. I can copy that. And then I can paste that. Just note, this is not how most real world calculators work. Most of them are spreadsheet based. And spreadsheets look a little different. But in terms of spreadsheets, they don't work real well in embedding into the quiz. And that's why I made the calculators like this, because it works better with embedding in the quiz. Because the spreadsheet's just too wide is the problem. So it doesn't work so well. So that's why I created this. So I just want to warn you, if you get into your upper division work, then you'll probably see spreadsheets. Okay, whether it's Excel or SPSS or SAS, there's a lot of different spreadsheet programs out there. But since we're in class, we're going to do it this way. I hit calculate. And there's my test statistic. Notice, remember, the test statistic for ANOVA is the F distribution. Okay, that's our new distribution for this particular thing. And I'm not going to copy it all. It's just too many numbers. Nobody cares. Maybe I'll take four decimals. So F. So the test statistic is F equals, let me write that down. F equals 1.7915. And again, there's some very serious math behind how this happens, which we're not doing. Just want to let you know, it's not really just touching a button on a calculator. There's a lot going on, but that's not non-mathematical statistics. Similarly, there's a lot of math going for the p-value also, which we're not going to do. All we're going to do is know how to use a machine, which is a lot easier. So the p-value is equal to 0.1937. Any questions at all on part D, on how to use the technology? Okay, let's go to part E. State the conclusion in the context of the study. If you don't know the first couple words of the conclusion, you haven't been paying attention for months. Because it's always the same. This is a hypothesis test. So how does it start? Yeah, there is. Statistically. And now, is it significant or is it insignificant?
Insignificant.
Yeah, it's insignificant. Notice the p-value is 0.1937. So that means it's not very rare for this to happen. A red flag does not come up. And we say, well, we can't make a conclusion based on this because this is normal. And remember, H1 is not being normal. So there is statistically insignificant evidence to make a conclusion that, and if you want, since I already have it, I can copy and paste. That always works in the sentence types. That at least 2 of the population means differ by age group. Any questions at all? Any questions at all on part E? Okay, now what assumptions must be made for this to be a valid study? Okay, so first thing, looking at the sample sizes, are there any assumptions after looking at the sample sizes?
I think we can assume the 5 rules of ANOVA. 1, all of the sample distributions are approximately normal.
Right, so that's the first one, not sample, all the population distributions.
Sorry, sample. Oh, yeah, I wrote sample. Whoops.
Yeah.
All the population distributions.
Yeah, so it's the distributions of the populations for each of the 3 age groups will be approximately normal. Do you see that?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. You don't have to make you can't make any assumptions about the sample numbers because we have the sample numbers. It's the population numbers that we don't have, and never will, by the way, because we won't know every person in Malaysia. I think there's a lot of them. I don't know much about Malaysia, but my guess is there's a lot of people there. Okay, so the first one is that since the sample sizes are less than 31, we must assume the distributions of each population are approximately normal. Okay, any questions on that? Okay, now we have some more.
Number 2, if the sample sizes differ greatly, then the population, I wrote population standard, but standard, I guess, is extra in there. So, no. Sample is extra in the other. Population is correct here. It is, if the sample sizes differ greatly, then the population standard deviation must all be almost the same.
Right. Now take a look at the sample sizes. There's no if. We know the sample sizes. What's the sample size for the first group, for the youngest?
7.
7. What's the sample size for the middle group?
7.
And what's the sample size for the elderly?
9.
One more guess?
8.
8, yeah. 8. Okay, those don't differ greatly, right? So the standard deviation being the same is not that important. It's not really something you have to assume because these sample sizes are about the same. Does that make sense? Okay, so we don't need to include that as an assumption because the sample sizes are pretty close to each other. Okay, 8, 9, they're all within 1. Okay. What other assumptions?
The sampling will be performed without bias.
Yeah, but better is the sampling was. It already happened. Was performed without bias. Does that make sense?
Yep, that's what I actually wrote, but I just decided to switch it up.
Yeah, but this is past tense because they already did the sample.
Yes.
Which we know because we read about it Tuesday.
Yep.
No surprises here. How about the third one?
The 4th one is the sampling and questioning was done in the same manner for each group.
Right, and that again we know nothing about, which means we have to assume it. If they didn't tell us or in the question, then we're going to have to just assume it. So the sampling was done in the same manner for each group. That's typically the easiest of all of them. Just means you have to have a meeting with the people doing the sampling. Let them know how to do it. But that's actually pretty easy. Okay, and then
Sorry, no turn for you, Erez. Number 5. The sampling is independent.
okay, yeah, the sampling was independent. Okay, and again, we don't know anything about whether it was independent or not. They could. So, for example, let me tell you how it wouldn't be independent. If they went to households, and at each household they asked a younger person, an older person, a middle person, all in the same household, and they all listened to each other, then it may not be independent. Does that make sense? Because then what one person's answer probably is in correspondence to another because they're all in the same group. Do you see that? In the same family or something. So that would be dependent. But they're probably independent. I don't know. I have no idea how the survey was done. But there's a good chance this was independent. It's usually not that hard. Any questions at all on the last quiz of the entire quarter? Because this is it. We call it a quiz. Quizzes are done. Sounds good? Okay. So that's it. Again, we don't have any new statistics to talk about. We've now had every chapter from 1 to 13, and we've covered it all. The only thing that might be left, depending on whether you did things in advance or not, is the homework for chapter 13. That's really the last piece that might have some things for you guys to do, is the homework for chapter 13. Other than that, the final exam is what you're going to be thinking about, because that's the very last thing to do. I have to grade this. That's the one thing I have to do. But I've already written your final exam, and I took your final exam. I did that yesterday. I did the taking of it. I think I passed. Was it hard? I'll tell you what was hard. The writing of it was hard. And the reason why it was hard is I've never written a full statistics exam in Canvas before. And I'll explain what was hard, and I had to compromise a little bit, and I apologize. It's compromising the ease for you, because there was no way of making it otherwise. So sorry about that, but I'll talk about that in a bit. But you do have a final exam. And just to let you know, let me go to the syllabus so that y'all can follow along. So you will notice that the final exam goes officially from 1 to 250, but I think last time, maybe I should change that now, because you decided as a group that you wanted to have the full 2 hours and 25 minutes instead of just an hour 50 minutes. Okay, so you guys thought you'd rather have extra time if you needed it. Okay, I think you did, didn't you? Otherwise, I have to cut it short, and you may have. Maybe I forgot to ask you. Maybe I'm thinking my calculus group.
No, we're good. We want the whole time, Larry.
Yeah, I think I asked you all.
And also, since we're talking about it,
the exam won't be shorter, just the amount of time you have to take it.
Yeah, we don't want shorter time. We want every second available.
Yeah. So the question is, do you want to rush through it, or do you want to be given extra time?
No, I want extra time.
Yeah. I'm looking at it. Yeah. No, it's not about more questions. It's about more time.
Okay, so can we have a whole page of notes this time, Larry?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. So let me fix that 250 now. That way it's official. Okay. Yeah, you guys didn't want to have to be rushed. Again, the exam's written. The exam's not changing whether I shorten the time or not.
Right.
All that matters is, do you want to be allowed? You could always finish shorter if you want. You can finish in 5 minutes. I don't recommend it though. So the new official time will be 1 to 3:25. Because that is our exam time. So now it's official. Any questions on that so far? Okay, so that's the first thing. And again, if you look, I guess I want to scroll down to that again. Because this is really important, is the date. So the date of the exam is June 25th. Okay, you'll notice that if you look at week 12, there is no June 23rd written in week 12. There is no class. I'll have my office hours. Okay, there's a small chance I may have to change the office hour, but it's a very small chance. There's a committee meeting that if they have me do it at that time, then I'll probably have the hour. I'll do it an hour earlier or something like that. But if I'm not on that committee meeting, then everything's the same in terms of office hours. Okay, so I will have my office hours. Any questions on that? Okay, so that's what's coming up, and that's it. Just to let you know, in terms of my schedule after that, is that I know some people get extra time, and because of that, it'll be late when the final's done. So my guess is I'll do it on Friday morning. In terms of do it, I mean grade it. So Friday morning is when I plan on grading it, and I'm an early riser, so we're probably talking 8 in the morning, maybe 8:30. So I'll have that graded by Friday early morning, unless it turns out that I can make it and I feel like I'm in the best state after you're done with your final. But I don't want to be in the wrong state and make a mistake on your final grading. That'd be bad.
Friday's graduation. You don't want us to cry on graduation day. Good or bad.
Yeah, the bad news about graduation is we're not having graduation. We're
Drive
having a party is what we're doing.
They're having a drive-through graduation.
And you stay in your car in the party. Yeah. I'll be there though. But they're not letting me even wear my cap and gown.
Really?
Yep.
Why?
And I have one, but they
yeah, of course you do. You have the real good one with those pretty blue stripes on it with the puffy.
Yeah, I have a fancy one, but they want me to wear a t-shirt, and I'm not in charge. So it's not a real graduation. So even that isn't happening. This is weird times. That's all I can tell you. It's just weird times. But I'll be outside waving to the cars in my t-shirt. Yeah, so that's just the way it is. But I will be there though. Okay, 6 to 8, I think, if I remember right. Okay, so anyhow, that's my plan, but I will have it done by Friday. It's different in terms of my grading though. And one reason why it'll take less time to grade is I don't need to write comments. Because your Canvas closes on Thursday. So you're not gonna see my comments anyway. If you email me, I can tell you what your grade is. Because like I said, once the course is closed, it's closed. Or you can wait till Tuesday, I think it is, and that's when the college, I think, releases the grades. Somewhere around then.
They won't even have them by then. It usually takes an extra week.
Yeah, they say Tuesday, but then sometimes it doesn't happen.
It's going to be at least a full week.
But I'll have them, and I do want to let you know that after graduation, okay, no, sorry, I shouldn't say that. After this party, the car party, don't expect me to get back to you on email in short time anymore. No, short time, because I do a lot of backpacking. And I'm off the grid a lot.
Real summer vacation starting for you.
Yeah, that's so there's a good chance I'll be backpacking like very soon after and gone for maybe weeks.
Great.
Just let you know, and that means I'm off grid. So don't expect me, after Friday to get back to your email very fast. I might if I happen to be, not backpacking. But if I'm backpacking, then I'm not very available. Okay, because we all do our things. Okay, so just note that's my schedule. So you will be taking this test, and now I want to talk about the test. So the first thing, let me scroll back up to the syllabus. Take it seriously, because if you count up, you'll see 100, 200, 500, 800, 1,000. So 200 of the 1,000 points, that's 20% of your course grade is the final exam, which is pretty significant. Okay, that's a significant amount for your final. So don't blow it off. Okay, if you don't take it, your grade goes down at least 2 full grades. That would suck. So make sure that you take it real seriously. You practice, 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 and then take the exam. And then after that, you can party. But between now and a week from now, make sure that you're in the right state of mind. You work hard, you practice, and you do well, because I want you to do well. Okay, so any questions at all on just the logistics of the final? Okay, the other is it looks just like the midterms in terms of technology. So the exams, I guess I call them, exam 1, exam 2. In other words, it's Proctorio based. So you must have a computer with a webcam. And if it worked last time, it should work this time also. Okay, so that's a big note. And remember, I think I'll be there, but let me see. Yeah. Oh yeah, I should mention something. So I'll be on email, at least for the first bit of an office hour before your final. And then at least for the first 20 minutes, I'll be on email. I won't be on Zoom because Zoom kills Proctorio. So don't go on Zoom. Don't go on Zoom next Thursday. Okay. Just a note, my office hour on Wednesday is changing. My office hour on Wednesday is 9 to 10 because I am learning about poker. But it's POCR, by the way. That means I'm a statewide reviewer for online classes. And we have our annual our training on that. So we all have to do that once a year, and they're having it during my office hours. So my office hours on Wednesday will be 9 to 10, not my normal office hours. Okay, so that's just a note. I'll also be in my office hour from 12 to 1 on Thursday. And again, I should have these office hours also. There's a good chance, because if you look at my schedule, you'll notice there's nothing on it. So I'm thinking about doing a little backpacking trip this night. So during office hour, I can definitely get back to you, but if it takes a while, Monday afternoon to Tuesday, early afternoon, that's because I'm off it. So just let you know my personal schedule, because I've written your tests. I don't need to study. I took it already. Okay, so that's my schedule. Now I want to talk about the exam. So let me go, and we talked about this when we talked about exam 1. And that is, you want to go to this modules page. Okay, the module page has a lot. Oh, let me pretend that didn't happen, because I want to show you how to find it. So when you go to the module page, it looks something like this. If you've opened stuff up, it'll go to whatever you opened, I think last, maybe the first thing. Can you go over the answers for the choose the test to use? I think I got them all down, but I want to make sure so I don't use information. Well, the choose the test to use, I think I've written over 400 of them on the app, because that's what I'm going to show you. On the practice final, you don't even remember the practice final, because I'm going to show you the main choose the test to use app, but I could do that too if you want. So anyhow, if you scroll down to comprehensive final, then you'll see some things I put that should help you out. Okay. And I think the first one's just a little video, but I think that's not one we have to watch. Yeah, that's just a video. I do have a practice final. Let's see if it reads it or if I have to click. I think I
need to click on the practice final to go. Yeah.
I just wanted to see if it was embedding. I was going to give it a minute. Yeah. So I want to let you know, it's going to look a little different because we're in Canvas. unfortunately. Oh yeah, I forgot about these. Okay, so we could do some of these, but I really want to look at the bigger picture and the larger. So here's a practice final. This just has a bunch of questions. The bad news, and I hate this, but the college does not let me get in to my webpage to upload or change anything. I can't do that from home. So the server blocks anybody from off campus, including the author. So I couldn't go in and make adjustments. Sorry about that. So it is what it is. I had to keep the same old one. So sorry about that. But I've complained many times and they never listen to me. Like, let me in. So sorry about that. But there's a group of these. But I want to show you the additional practice because that's what you really want to be practicing. So I wrote an app, and this will work on any device. This works on your smartphone. This will work on your computer, whether you have a Mac or you have a PC. I wrote it using JavaScript. And this is an app I wrote. Now, since we're in the final exam, which ones do you think you should check?
All of them.
Yeah. So I have a select all button to make it a lot easier. So I hit select all and hit submit. Okay, and I'll read one of these. A study was done to see how many times per month people eat out at restaurants. Okay, and by the way, this was done before COVID. 600 people were asked how old they were and how many times per month they ate out. Find a confidence interval for the mean number of times 24-year-olds eat out. Okay, this one's actually pretty easy. So this one is, maybe I'll do another one also. It's a confidence interval for a population mean. Wait a minute, find a confidence interval for the mean number of times. 28, no, see, it isn't. I didn't read it enough. What is this one? I purposely did it wrong. Notice it says there's two samples here. Because it's how old they are and how many times a month they eat out. Figured I'd do the one that you guys would probably all do. So as you're asking if I studied comp sci, so I'm a little embarrassed to say this, but I'm an old man. They didn't offer computer science classes at UC San Diego when I was at UC San Diego, so I'm self-taught. Yeah, and all the professors in computer science when I was young were math professors because they didn't have computer science professors. Because mathematicians did all the original computer science. So it was a little different in those days. Oh no, it was a whole lot different. Okay, we can try between two means. Okay, now there's a lot of between two means. Independent samples, there's dependent samples. Which one do you think? Independent, let's try it, see what happens. Okay, so it's not a hypothesis test. Okay, we could try, I think I did, so we could do the confidence interval for independent samples, see if that's it. So if that's not it either. We're given the value of one of the variables, we want to estimate the other. What does that? Homogeneity, we could try it, but that doesn't work. Okay, that's a hypothesis test, by the way. Any ideas? It's in here. Okay, this is a prediction for a single value of y for a fixed x. That's regression analysis. Because we're told that the person's 28-year-old. And then want to estimate using the regression line. And that's the right one. And something happened to the, I got to fix that one day, but I have to go to the college to do that. But unfortunately, this little guy doesn't show up. That's supposed to be a happy thing. Okay, any questions on that? Okay, this is really important. How many of these should you do? Yeah, what's a lot mean? I actually have a definition of a lot. More than 30, I like that. But we're not doing, we're not trying to find a confidence interval hypothesis test for our success. We just need to be successful. But that was a good answer. I like that. Okay, so my answer is you should keep doing them until you get 7 or 8 correct in a row. So in other words, if you've got it and you figured it out and you know how to get them correct, then you're done. So keep practicing until you just get them right. Okay, and when pretty soon it's just old hat, you read it, so yeah, I know what it is because I've been doing it. Right, you try it more, and you keep getting them right, then you're ready. Any questions on that? If you don't practice, it will not go well for you. Okay, I do want to give you a warning. And again, this was something I couldn't do much about, but the way Canvas works when there's multiple choice questions is the answers are randomized in their order randomized. So the one big difference between what you're looking at now and what you're going to get on the final is that this list will be randomly ordered. So, and the reason is that if I don't randomly order, it's obvious which one's right because it's the one that's not in the right order. So I had to select random order. So you're gonna have to read through one at a time until you find the one it is. Does that make sense? So sorry about that, but Canvas doesn't allow me to just have you do it in this order and you choose the right one. It doesn't quite work that way. I wish it did. Okay. What it does if I don't random order, it takes all the rest of them, puts them in order, and then takes the right one and randomly places it somewhere, but then it'll be obvious because if this thing out of place, it would be the right answer. I can't let you do it that way.
Can I just make a quick note, Larry?
Mm-hmm.
This is the hardest part of the final exam, so practicing is very important for this part. It requires a lot of practice to see what the question is asking for sure. This is the part that most students have trouble with. So it's very important to practice.
Yeah, and don't forget to read, when you get it wrong, read why. Don't just guess. Because what I did is I built in some AI. So if you get it wrong, it gives you a hint on how to get it right. A hint, it doesn't tell you what the right answer is, but it gives you a hint. So make sure you read that. Okay, and you'll also notice the choices here. They look closer to what your calculator shows, what your online calculator. A lot closer than, say, a TI-84 calculator. So that shouldn't be a big deal. The naming, so I think some of you are worried about the naming when I talked about it last time. Yeah, the naming isn't a big issue. Okay, the naming is pretty consistent. Any questions at all on question number 1? Okay, and by the way, here's a promise for you. Your question number 1 is going to be this, and so will 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, I think is how far it goes. Okay, any questions on that? Okay, there also, wait, I want to go to There's also true false questions. And again, I wrote an app with true false. You want to select all? Submit. And this gives you a bunch of true false questions to practice. Where else might you see some true false questions to practice?
In our previous exams and in our homework.
Yeah, your pre exams and your homework. Okay, so make sure you practice those. And those are newer. These apps are wrote a long time ago, so those are newer. So practice those, but these are, these are still good ones, so just let you know. There might be some that we haven't talked about because not much, but there's a few things that have been changed in the course, but not very many. Any questions on this? Okay, so again, this is a practice test. Sorry, that was the practice test. I'll let you go through this and work on it. Now, a practice test is not a study guide. I do need to warn you on that. Just because you understand each of these problems does not mean you're ready for the final. If you've studied these and learned how to do all of these problems, the final is not these problems. Okay, this is just some extra practice problems. That's all this is. Okay, in fact, I would suggest probably the two exams are really important also for being able to do problems. Okay. But let me show you another piece that I created, and I posted it, I think, yesterday, actually. The review applets are what I just showed you. That was the true false and the classifying statistics. But what I did is, you'll see it says S20, final structure 201. This one, I think you don't have to click. I think it'll actually come on in. Okay, so this is a structure, and question number 1, you better get that one. If you don't get that one, that means you're planning on cheating. And by the way, it's 1 point, but if you don't do it, everything else becomes a 0. You have to do that. You have to say that you're not cheating. Okay, because if you're not willing to say you're not cheating, then I'm going to assume you're cheating. Does that sound fair? Okay, you need to not cheat. Got it? Okay. Question number 2.
Have you
You've
had a
seen
lot of
this?
cheaters, Larry, who refuse to say they won't cheat, thereby letting you know they're cheating?
What's that?
Have you had a lot of cheaters who refuse to say they won't cheat, thereby letting you know up front they're cheating?
Oh, well, this is the first time I've done it online.
Oh, okay.
I've always made people go to a Proctor Center.
Okay.
I teach online, but this is the first time that we're in Proctor Centers all over the world.
You know what? Look, we're so used to the new that I forgot it that this is the first time.
Yeah, no, this is new. This is new. But in grading the regular exams, I didn't spot anyone that looked like them.
Did you spot?
Usually
anyone,
I can tell.
Did anyone refuse to write their name?
No. So we have honest people in this class, which is good.
Great.
Yeah. You have to write your name.
Established.
Mm-hmm. And if you forgot your name, you got bigger problems. Okay. So anyhow, so it's not going to look exactly like this because the order of these is going to be different. This is on Canvas. You're going to click the one that is correct. Okay. There wasn't a good way of doing this in a document. Okay. Problems 11 through 19 are true false questions. So in the past, by the way, I just had all the true false questions in A, B, C, D, E. But with Canvas, it doesn't work that way. So it looks like there's a whole lot of problems on this test. But true false questions shouldn't take more than a minute. You read the question, you write down if it's true or false. And you know it or you don't. It's not like you're going to have to go to the calculator and do all that kind of stuff. Either you understand the vocabulary and the concepts, or you don't. And if and you'll get it. But here's one thing that you would be really stupid not to do. And that is, even if you have no idea, at least guess. Because remember, if you guess, you got a 50-50 chance. You got a your probability is 0.5 of getting it right. And if you leave it blank, your probability of 0 of getting it right. So don't leave it blank. Okay, and that will be Canvas graded. And so problems 1 through 19 will be Canvas graded, just to let you know. And then all the rest of them will be me graded, because the rest of them are a lot of writing. And they're going to look more like your quiz problems. And what I did is I wrote down what you're going to have to, somewhat of what you're going to have to do on each problem. I think I did this for your regular exams too, and now I'm doing it for the final. So notice, number 1, it says paragraph. By the way, it's not going to have the word paragraph. Sorry, number 20. It's not going to have the word paragraph on number 20. Okay, it's going to have a paragraph. Okay, just let you know. Then there's an A, B, C, D, and E, and you need to be able to do all this. Okay, this shouldn't be surprising at all. Write down null and alternative hypothesis, test statistic, p-value, conclusion, complete sentence to interpret the p-value in the context of the study, and then explain with calculations why or why not it's appropriate to use a normal distribution. I want to highlight this because not everyone gets this right. What does context of the study mean?
It means make your sentence be what the question's talking about.
Yeah, there's going to be there's going to be description of what the study was in the paragraph. You need to be talking about that. So don't just have, don't just write there is statistically significant evidence to reject the null hypothesis and stop there, okay, or fail to reject, or you know what I mean? You need to actually write down in the context of the study. So I want to emphasize that because some of you aren't doing that. Again, I don't ever mention names on who makes mistakes, but I'll let you know that on some of the quizzes I've noticed that there are some that are not writing context of the study, and I always take off points, and they still do it each time. So I don't know what else I could do other than you need to do it, right in the context of the study. Any questions on the idea of number 20? Okay, let's move on. All right, so 21, for each part, write down the sampling distribution, answer the question, then determine if the normality assumption was necessary. Okay, and there are 3 different ones. So by the way, how many different things are you gonna have to do? Let's see if you can do the basic math, very basic math. How many different things are you gonna have to do for problem number 21? Yeah, 9, because there's 3 things for each part, and there's 3 parts. 3 times 3, you better know what that is. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're allowed a calculator, but in built-in calculator, but 3 times 3 is fine. Any questions on that? So I recommend actually writing 1, 2, 3 for each of them. That will force you to do each of them, because I'd say about 40% of the people who take the final exam, and I always give this on the final, by the way, just leave something, don't even do it. Don't even do one of these, okay? It's usually either the first part or the third part that doesn't happen. So don't be one of those 40%. Make sure you do 9 things on this one, okay? What symbol must be in the first part of each of these? It's not a letter, it's a symbol. This will help you out in getting started on the first part. What symbol? See if you can type in the chat box, because you may not know how to say the symbol. A lot of people don't know what the word is. So what symbol must be in the first part, in the write down the sampling distribution part? I'm looking at the chat box. Not sure. All right, maybe I'll put in the chat box. If I say the word, it might not mean anything to you because a lot of people don't know what it is. That's the symbol. It's a tilde. If you speak Spanish, it's the top of an ñ. But it's a tilde. No, I didn't say first. I said in the first part. In the first part. So in the part that says write down the sampling distribution, that tilde is necessary. The reason why I'm talking about this, it helps you get going. So if this way you know what I'm asking for and you can practice. That's the idea. Okay, have you seen a problem like this before? Yes, of course you have. Okay, this was on exam 2. I asked you the same exact question. The A through Z will be A through C will be different, but but this is basically a copy and paste from exam 2 with the different A through C. So what's the best way to study?
With your friendly neighborhood tutor?
Yeah, but even better is, I mean, I wouldn't say necessarily better, but exam 2. Revisit exam
I'm
2.
going to go back and look at exam 2. Unfortunately, it's not Canvas graded because, you know, we could have the homework stuff, but I'm going back to look at exam 2 now again and see exactly what the difference is, because I bet it's pretty dramatic
What the difference in
how I would do exam 2.
Okay, you mean versus how you did originally?
That's what I mean.
Okay, yeah, I won't go into the details on that. That's private and I don't talk about that. But,
of course, but
I will tell you that
right.
the final problem number 21 and there's exam 2 basically the same. If you could do exam 2 and totally understand it, problem 21 should be fine. But if you don't bother, I can almost guarantee problem number 21 will be a disaster because I've been giving this one for over a decade. Because to me, this is a very important problem. Okay, now I was a little bit vague on problem 22, but it's a question from chapter 3, 4, or 5, and also chapter 11. So I'm not going to tell you exactly what it is, but you might want to take a note of that so that when you get to problem 22, you realize you're going to have to do something from chapter 11. And that'll help you get going. That's real important. Now you got to remember what chapter 11 was. What was chapter 11 about? It's been that long. We're in 13. So, yeah, chapter 11 was chi-squared. So guess what? You're going to have to do a chi-squared test. Okay, but it's in combo with something from one of these other chapters. So that's as much as I'm going to tell you, and you said practice. Okay, problem 23 is a confidence interval question. Okay, so by the way, if I say interpret the confidence interval, what are the first couple words?
There is statistically.
No, for confidence intervals, that's hypothesis testing.
Oh, I got that one down.
Yeah, it's probably with 95. It could be 90 or 99, but more likely with 95% confidence. Okay. So, get the beginning right. Otherwise, you're going to be really lost on this test. So that, again, I want to give you some hints on how to get started on every problem. Okay. I'm not going to tell you whether it's proportion or mean, but I will tell you that if it's mean and you have the word proportion, I will take off points. And if it's proportion and you have the word mean, I will take off points. Okay, and if it's mean and you don't have the word population mean, I'll take off points. And similarly, if it's proportion and you don't refer to the population, I will take off points. Got it? So whether it's mean or proportion, you got to refer to the population. And does that make sense? Okay, and there's question 24. Question 24 I didn't write the word paragraph, but maybe I should have. But there's a paragraph first. And then it says, state the null and alternative hypotheses. State your conclusion using a complete sentence. First couple words on part B are? First 2 words, 3 words actually. That you don't know anything else, but you should know the first 3 words. There is stat. Yeah, statistically, I'll let you have that. Okay, so again, that'll get you started. Okay, don't give me anything else. Give me those 3 words and that'll get you started. Okay, if you start with something else, then you're probably going to get it wrong. Okay, now level of significance represents the probability. Interpret the probability in the context of the study. What's the first word for part C? In fact, you could do a few words if you want, but again, it'll get you started. Yeah, if. Okay, there's no excuse not to have the first word right on all of these. You get a note sheet. Okay, that'll get you started. I'm trying to help you get started. Okay, what I'm not going to do is give the full answer for everything on every problem, because then it's not a final exam. Okay, but I want you to get started, and I want you to pay attention. Okay, problem 25. Something from chapter 2, 3, or 4. So again, I'm keeping it vague because I want you to study chapters 2, 3, or 4. So sorry, but you can go back and you can look at your first exam that had chapters 2, 3, and 4 on it. You can also look at the quizzes that we've taken that were from chapter 2, 3, and 4. You could also look at your homework assignments, okay, or the books questions. Okay, there's a lot of resources for questions. Okay, any questions on problem 25? Okay, problem 26. Okay, so there's a paragraph. I didn't write the word paragraph, but there'll be a paragraph. And then it'll say, using a level of significance of 5%, determine if the regression line is useful, plus more. I'm not going to tell you what the more is, but you'll have to read that and answer. Okay, just to let you know, how do you start part A? There is the very beginning of part A. You need data. That'll be in that paragraph. That's me starting, not you starting. What are the first things you write for part A? Do you remember? It was just last week. And in fact, you did it on Tuesday for the quiz. I think you do it for, okay, you start with H naught, rho equals 0. Do you remember that? Because you're doing a hypothesis test. Yeah, that's how you start part A. And then there's a little more to do, but that's how you start. And then H1, rho is not equal to 0. Then you find the test statistic and the p-value, and then you can say there is. Okay, part B, find the equations of the regression line. Okay, again, that's all done with the built-in computer calculator thing. Okay, and then you're gonna have to use it. So you're gonna have to use it for something. Part C is interpret the slope and y-intercept, if relevant in the context of the problem, or state why there's no relevance. I want to confess about something. I should change this a little bit. I realized this was too much from one part, so there's actually an A, B, C, D, and E. It shouldn't bother you, but C is going to be interpret the slope, and then D is going to be interpret the y-intercept if it's relevant. So just let you know that I did them. It's a very minor change. This is the way I decided, it'd be better to break those down into pieces. And then D is interpret R squared. So again, look at the quiz that you took last week. Oh, sorry, just Tuesday, and also last week. And those will give you some good examples. The other thing is that I always give you examples in the webinars, and the webinars are all on YouTube. So you can go and look at all the webinars and see more examples. Okay, so there's lots and lots of examples in this class. Any questions on 26? Okay, 27. And this is the last of all of them. And that is, I give you a paragraph, and then what can be concluded at the 5% level of significance. I think I also asked you for the name of the test. I think I add that one in later. And what is the null hypothesis, alternative hypothesis, test statistic, p-value, and interpret. Okay, that is the test. So are there any questions about what to expect? Okay, it seems pretty long because there's 27 questions, but remember the first 20 of them are quick. They're just multiple choice and true falses. You know, they don't take more than a minute each. And then after that, they'll take time. But you do have to get to it. You know, you don't want to spend, 20 minutes on every problem, you won't make it. Any questions at all on what to expect for this final exam? Okay, something, I think I might have shared it before, but I think I'll share it again. Let me do that now. But again, you could get overwhelmed from this. So I want to warn you, this is huge. That one. It's so big, it takes a long time to load. I think it's 190 pages or something like that. But it will load eventually. Sometime. But in case this helps, still loading. The danger of giving this to you is that it could make you nervous because it's so big. Yeah, copy link. Okay, so I just shared a Google Doc on questions that I've written in the past on exams, and that gives you an idea of what final exam and other questions look like. Just to let you know, again, the warning is if you go here, 188 pages. So it's a lot. There are a lot of questions here, but it might help you, for practice. So there's more questions. There are more questions that you can work on for practice than you have time between now and next week. That I guarantee. Aha. One of you is an anonymous Dumbo octopus. He's like Google.
I'm logged in, but this is not me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, might be one of the others. Well, if you're logged in, why isn't it you? There's no one else on it. It's anonymous Dumbo octopus. It doesn't mean that's what you're seeing. Yeah, so that might be you. It wouldn't have your name unless you give privacy rights and stuff. So, but you don't look like a Dumbo octopus. So anyway, this is, huh?
It should just show a C because it's logged into my husband's, but that's weird.
It's anonymous because there's security settings and stuff. So anyhow, you're welcome to, use this for studying if you want to. There are a lot of study tools. And all you have to do is go and take that out. I want to remind you there. Thank you, syllabus. Remember, it might be that one. There it is. So if you go to the playlist of the webinars, just in case you don't usually do that, then this has all the webinars that we've had this quarter. And there's been a bunch. There's 19 of them. And there'll be 20 after, a few hours from now. So that's another really good way of practicing. And again, you can pause it at one of the problems we're working on and then try it and see if your answer is what it was when it was done. Because that's like they have keys. Okay, and it's a good way for the quiz. So like, I think the best way to practice a quiz is you go to one of these webinars. I don't know, how about the probability webinar? And then you scroll till you get to about there. And then pause it and then try it. Does that make sense? And then after you've tried it, then hit play again, see if you got the right answer. So don't just watch me do it, try it, and then watch me do it. Because if you just watch me do it, then it's passive. And passive is not a good way to learn. Okay, all right, thanks, Erez. Sorry if you have to go, I understand. Probably won't go the full 2.5 hours today anyway, but I might if you want me to. But thanks a lot, you've been great. And I wish you strong success. I have confidence that you'll have success on this final exam. And don't forget, I'm gonna be around. And you can shoot me an email. You can come to my office hours. I'm around. So after your final, then backpacking time, after graduation. But before that, I am around a lot. Any questions? So just one last person here. Any questions, Michelle, or anything, any requests?
Well, I'm going to cover every inch of this course over the next week, getting ready for this final. So I have a million questions, but I'm good.
Okay, and I want to remind you, and Anna, you can say it. Anna, what are your hours
Oh,
between now and next Thursday?
This week, I got a request to have more hours, so I have a lot of hours till the exam. Today, I'm doing 3:30 till 8:30, 9 p.m.
Wow.
Sunday, I'm doing 3 to 8 or 9 if needed. Monday, I'm doing 2 to 6. Tuesday, I'm doing 11 till 3:30. Wednesday, 2 to 6. And right before the exam, 9 to 1.
no. Oh, no, we're not doing it before the exam. We have a program. I guess other people get hours too. Yes, Anna and I have appointments for oodles of hours, and I asked Miss Melanie in the library to authorize oodles more hours, and I'm making the program, Larry.
Great, great, great. And just note there are, if you can't make those hours, which are a zillion hours,
Oh, no.
there's also other tutors too that do statistics.
There's only Kevin this quarter also doing statistics, and his hours are Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 9:30 to 10:30, then every day from 1 to 3, Monday through Friday.
All right. In the DRC, actually, there's another one too. If you're a DRC student, then there is, for anyone in the class that's DRC, there's Trey knows statistics.
Who's also named Harold.
Yeah, also named Harold, because Trey took my class. So there's some others too that that say they don't do statistics, but they do. Just let you know. Like Braulio, I think does statistics, right?
He usually doesn't do, but he took.
But he knows it.
Yeah, he knows.
Yeah, even if it's not
And-
listed, But Anna is your number one source because she's our embedded tutor. Yep. And I'll actually be going to the library next week, I think. Looks like.
You're going
And
to
the last, huh?
We're going to the library?
I am.
Really? You get to go in?
Well, I'm going to go to the desk to
Mhm.
hand the calculators to them.
Me
Big
too.
trip. Big trip.
Yeah, because I have calculators to give them. Hopefully the last one will come next week
I was gonna ask, did your other one, you said you were still looking for 4 more?
I got the dozen. Yep.
Wonderful.
They just have to
That
get
is
shipped in
so
the mail.
great.
I have 9 already, and there's 3 left to be shipped.
That is super great.
Yeah, so that will be good. Any questions? Again, my plan was to hang until there's no more questions, but I can do whatever you want at this point.
So, Anna, I don't even know what time it is officially. Oh, it's only 2:40.
Yeah, we got time. But again, I don't have a lecture prepared because we don't have new material. This is just to help you out. That's all this is.
Would you mind going the tests to choose from the review one?
Okay, just a minute. That. Let's do that.
And on question 26, are you also going to give a graph, or is the graph from the calculations that you find if it's useful or not for the regression analysis?
Well, I'm gonna do like the quizzes.
Okay.
And if you remember when you do the quizzes, if I give you data, put the calculator, a graph will be shown.
Yeah, that's why I was wondering.
I'm not going to give you a graph, but you can create a graph.
Yeah, so everything's just the same with the calculator being embedded in the test question, right?
Yeah, that's not changing at all.
Okay, good.
Same calculator,
Same
same
way.
calculator, nothing changes there.
Okay, good.
Okay, so you want to look at these? So shall we go through these? Part A? So are automobile prices higher in South Lake Tahoe than in Sacramento? Okay, 50 Subaru Legacies from the South Lake Tahoe dealership. Okay, we'll pretend there actually are 50. And 50 from the Sacramento dealership were sold last month and recorded. Okay, so what kind of test is this, or confidence interval?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay, so let's go through the things you should think about. The first thing is, what is the survey question?
What is a survey question?
Yep, what are you going to ask the dealer?
I'm going to ask how many Subaru Legacies he sold.
Okay,
I can't see the entire question because so you know, I can't see the last half over here because the photos or videos of everyone is there. So if it's not,
you should be able to move the video.
you should be able to.
Oh, you can't? Okay, yeah, but
so I'm not sure if am I wrong on we're asking how many Subaru Legacies he has or what that is.
so let me read it again. Are automobile prices higher in South Lake Tahoe than in Sacramento?
Okay. So then I'm obviously asking what the price of those 50 Subaru Legacies are.
Right. And what kind of answer might you hear for this first legacy?
Remember, quantitative or qualitative, Michelle?
But what might an answer be? An example.
$10,000 quantitative.
Good. And that's quantitative. So that's the first thing, is we know this is quantitative. Okay, next. How many samples are there?
50.
Not what the sample size is. How many samples?
One of the Subaru Legacy.
Okay. Look again. 50 Subaru Legacies from South Tahoe and 50 from Sacramento.
Okay.
How many samples are there?
100.
How many groups are you looking at, Michelle?
2. So there's 2 samples. So don't get confused between samples and sample size. Those are different things. So there's 2 samples. It's quantitative. Are we trying to decide on something being true or not, or are we trying to estimate a number?
Estimate a number.
And where are you getting that?
Automobile prices
Here's the hint. What's the first word?
are
Uh-huh.
So it's yes or no?
Yeah, it's not an estimated number. It's a decision. Do you see that?
I see that now, but I would not have seen that earlier in this.
That's fine as long as you see it in 7 days.
Yes. In 7 days, you'll be surprised what all I'm going to see.
That's what matters, is that you can see it in 7
In
days.
7 days, I'm going to see clearly with brand new glasses.
Okay, so now we know it's a hypothesis test. That's what the R is.
Okay.
We know it's 2 sample mean. Now, is it independent data or is it dependent data?
It's independent data because the prices in South Lake Tahoe and Sacramento are what they are.
They're not paired.
Yeah.
They're not paired. That's the important thing. There's no pairing between the first car in Sacramento and the first car in Tahoe, right? So that tells us it's a hypothesis test for the difference between 2 independent population means. Okay, and I want to remind you the order will be different when you do the campus quiz, because that's how it works. Campus survival, because that's how campus works. So that's the big thing, is the order which you're looking at things are going to be completely different. Any questions on A? Okay, let's get B. Okay, does the color of the paper used for the final exam influence performance? 200 students were randomly given the same text on blue, red, and white paper. The number of A, B, C's, D's, and F's for each color were tabulated. What do you think?
I think it's an interesting question. The rest of it,
Okay, so
I didn't cover
the
this
survey
yet.
question.
Okay, it's a survey question.
How many survey questions are there in this one?
1. Does the color
Okay, what's the
paper
survey
used
question?
for the final exam influence performance?
No, that's not the survey question.
So the question is,
What are you going to ask this first student?
what color the paper was and what his or her grade was.
Okay, so there's 2 survey questions, right?
So there's 2 survey questions.
Okay, now for the first survey question, what kind of survey question is it?
I don't know.
Okay, well, what's the question?
The question was, what color was your paper and what
And
was your
what might be an answer be? Give me an example of an answer.
blue, red, or white?
An answer.
Well, an answer would be blue.
Good. Okay, now there's blue. Notice blue is not a number. And blue is not yes or no. So what chapter is this from?
I have no idea.
What chapter handled things like answer being blue, a word, not a yes, no, not a number. There's only one chapter that did that.
6?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, this is chapter 11, chi-squared.
Okay.
That's when we did these, because that helps, because it forces you to think about what chapter we're in now. And in chapter 11, there are 3 different tests.
Yes, so chi-squared,
Now, they're all chi-squared, actually.
Mm-hmm.
chi-squared for independence, chi-squared for homogeneity, and chi-squared for goodness of fit.
Yes.
Good. Which is this?
This is I have to look at my notes.
Okay.
I know these things, but differently than you're asking right now.
Right.
I know about chi-squared.
But this is how you want to be thinking about it so you can get to the right answer.
Yes, and I believe that's what Anna and I are working on until 9 o'clock tonight.
Good, good.
So, all right. This is qualitative. They're all qualitative.
Mhm.
No, I don't even have to care about qualitative or quantitative in goodness of fit.
All chapter 11. Chapter 11 is qualitative anyway.
All of it.
We
So
already decided that.
Yes. It's not goodness of fit
How do you know that?
because it doesn't say distribution.
Okay, but it won't always say distribution in the question. But it's not about a distribution.
It's not independence because it's not about that either. It's about homogeneity. I'm comparing the distributions.
Okay, if it's homogeneity, then there's two groups you're comparing. What two groups are you looking at?
I'm looking at colors of paper and grades.
Now, two groups of people. They're not doing that.
Mm-mm.
So cancel that.
Do you see that?
Yes.
Yeah, this is independence.
Okay, this is independence because it is looking for a relationship, the relationship being between red, white, and blue paper, A's, B's, C, D's, and F's.
Mm-hmm.
It is chi-squared test for independence.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So you have practice to do, that's for sure.
Oh, for sure. And you know, it's I just like to leave you guessing.
Mm-hmm.
Guessing a lot. So
Is honey a better medicine for small wounds than the conventional salves? Currently, 9% of the wounds that are treated with conventional salves end up infected. 150 wounds in the study group were treated with honey.
Again, Michelle, what is the question that you're asking?
is honey a better medicine for small wounds than conventional salves?
Mhm.
So this is a yes or no question. It is qualitative.
But not because of the first sentence. The first sentence is not the survey question. What is the survey question?
The survey question is whether the honey or the salve worked.
Mm-mm.
No. What are you going to ask this person number 1 out of 150 who has wounds? What are you going to ask that person?
I don't know.
Take a look.
I can't see the question. If
Okay.
you move it down a little bit, I can see the question. It's because of thank you. It's because of the blocks of our faces.
Okay.
All right. Currently, 9% of the wounds that are treated with conventional salves end up infected. Well, I'm asking if they're infected or not.
Exactly. That's
Mhm.
why it's yes, no.
Yeah.
Do you see that? It's not because it says, is honey better medicine? It's not because of that. It's because you're asking if it's infected.
Okay.
Okay, that's the first thing. Now, how many samples, not sample size, but how many groups are there?
2.
Which 2?
Honey and salves.
All right, how many people were in the salves?
I don't know. I only know that
Doesn't
there
say.
were 150 treated with honey, but I don't know about the rest.
We only have one group. We have the group treated with honey. That's all we've done. So this is not 2 groups. This is 1 group.
Okay.
Are you following that?
Yes.
So we know about the salves. What we're interested in is about the honey.
Okay.
Okay. So now, is this a hypothesis test or confidence interval?
Hypothesis.
How do you know that?
Well, there's no information given that would make me think it was a confidence interval.
What's the keyword that tells you it's a hypothesis test?
How? How much?
No. How much would be a confidence interval, by the way?
Sorry, I was reading D. Okay. What tells me?
Mhm.
I don't even know.
It's very subtle.
Just
Right
is?
there is, yep.
Okay.
It either is or isn't, and that's what hypothesis tests do.
Okay.
So this is a hypothesis test for a population. Hypothesis test for
Is
a
this
population
is
proportion.
this is the stuff that we worked on the day of the last exam, right, Anna? No? Did we work on this at all?
Yeah, that's chapter 9.
Cool.
Is that one that we look at the null and alternative? We have an estimation already for the population, and we're comparing one sample to the population.
So we still had, I think it was today or Sunday that we had to go over these because I can't answer any of these questions about which one it is right now.
Right. You'll need to practice a lot. That's what that means.
Mhm.
Yes, but we have already put a plan in place of how to make it so that I will know all of this next week.
Yeah, and I want to let you know this is not just problems 2 through 10.
It's every problem.
Because if you can't do this, you won't be able to do any of the others either.
Not right now.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. As I was saying, this is the most important thing to know in this class.
Yes, and like I said, we have a plan, and we've discussed this, and we have a plan in place to learn it and how to learn it and how to commit it to long-term memory and make sure that I do know this. But we've discussed specifically how I do not know this at this time.
Right. Which
And,
means you need to
I'm
practice.
not going to be with you
Yeah.
during the final, and I cannot ask you the questions of how many groups are you looking at. And so it's very important for you to practice a lot by yourself and be able to do this, because with me, it's like us doing the homework. It's going to be way easier because I'm asking you, hey, is it this? Why did you choose this? So it's just, I can teach you all that I know, but at the exam, you're going to be doing it by yourself. So you need to be
Yeah.
able to identify those things.
Yes. So we had already talked yesterday about exactly how we were going to break all of these down so that I could take it with me everywhere I go, everything I do, and be studying exactly this, since I think you said that this alone would be at least 20% of the entire exam.
This and the true
every
or
single
falses.
Yeah, and that every single question would have what is the test that you're using.
Yeah. And if you can't do this, you won't be able to do the other problems
Mhm.
either.
Yeah.
The whole test will be a disaster if you can't do this.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to do this. This is definitely where you want to start.
Yes.
Okay. And I want to let you know there's 8 of these, but on the app, there's hundreds. So don't just do the 8.
Right. I still have a long way to go with being ready for the final, but I will be ready for the final.
Good, good.
And a lot of things I just need a little hint. So that's why I asked if we could have the full page of
Yeah.
notes this time.
Yeah, and
And
you get 1 page.
yeah, so sometimes I just need a prompt, just like I had like the keywords on the chi-square, the 3 different chi-squares and whatnot. But you have seen in my class participation and in my little quizzes each day that I am getting this.
Yeah.
So
You're
it's not
progressing fast.
yeah, we're not at a total lost cause here. I am getting
Oh,
it.
no.
And
I'm hopeful. I'm very
yeah.
hopeful.
I'm getting it, and Anna and I are working through a plan of how to make sure that this is all good.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, there's some people that the hope is over. You're not one of them.
thank you.
And there's some people that I almost don't even have to grade their
Mhm.
tests because they're getting it.
Erez,
Yeah, I can't tell you who, but
you don't have to. I attended the class with him every day, and he's obviously got it down and knows what he's doing. But yes, I still have 7
you have a
days.
good chance. You have a really good chance.
I have I've done super great, not on the exam too, but since then I've done super great in each week learning, and I'm doing it.
Yeah, and make sure you write little notes for each problem
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
that'll help you get started and it'll take away some of the stress.
Yes.
Yes,
Because
honestly,
I know stress could be a problem, and so that's one way of relieving some stress is to get started.
yes. And I have broken things down with Anna really great in a lot of these things where it's step 1. Is it quantitative or qualitative? Down to as simple as that, as a reminder to get it going.
Right.
Just start qualitative, quantitative. And sometimes that's enough to go.
Yep.
So
And
Michelle,
but
for
now
this-
it's qualitative, yes, no,
Mhm.
or quantitative.
Yes.
There's really 3 types because there's chi-squared. And that's the
Now,
quality.
now there is, yes, with the chi-square.
So there's really three different types. There's qualitative, not yes, no, qualitative, yes, no, and quantitative.
Yes.
So just now we got three types.
Now we have three types. Well, that was for before we had the chi-square. It was step one, basic, qualitative, quantitative. Step two. Now we do have more. Now we have so much more. But I feel good about, I can work the problems. I could not do that before. And I feel that it's going to be okay. And I've learned so much already. And I have so much time that Anna and I are scheduled to work together. And this is a major problem, but we already had it ready to address.
So for example, on D, Michelle,
D,
what is the question that you're asking people?
how much of the food that you buy ends up being thrown out? I'm asking people how much food, a refrigerator was monitored that had 45 perishable items. We're asking people, of the 45 perishable items in the refrigerator, how many were thrown away?
Okay, remember the sample size is 45.
Yes. So is
Let's
this
say
a
the
confidence
first-
interval?
The first thing was eggs. What are you going to ask the person about those eggs?
Were they thrown away?
Yeah. And what might the answer be?
Yes or no?
Right, the answer might be yes. Do you see? So that's what you want to be thinking about. So this is a yes/no question.
Okay.
Okay, with a sample size of 45. Do you see that?
Yes.
Is it confidence interval or hypothesis test?
It's a hypothesis test. No, it's a
Why do you-
confidence interval. It's
Okay,
confidence interval. And it's because we're asking the yes or no questions for, let me look at my notes and say that better. What chapter was this? 9? No.
8.
8.
Aren't you asking how much?
Yeah, but when I said that, you guys said it was wrong.
the survey question is not how much. The study is about how much.
Okay.
So there's two things going on. There's a survey question or questions, and then there's a study. And here the study is how much, which means it's confidence.
Mhm.
The
Okay.
survey question is, did you throw that out? And that's yes, no.
Okay.
So that means, and then you have to say, well, how many groups were there? Not sample size, but how many groups were there?
1.
Mm-hmm.
Just
So
the single
then
refrigerator.
you know what it is. So which one is this one?
Confidence interval.
For
Or-
A,
Mean or proportion?
For a proportion.
population portion, a single population portion. Got it?
Yes.
Okay. So
I
that's how you go
continue
about
to
deciding.
mix up the mean proportion, sample proportion. I continue to mix up those words even today. That was my single mistake on my quiz. Was I said, see exactly what I said.
Sample instead of
Yeah, I said
population.
sample distribution instead of population distribution.
Yeah,
So
and those are different.
I continue to make that mistake. And while it's not a big mistake, it is still a point coster.
Yes,
So,
you don't want to lose points. So
right. So I also on my own list I've made is cut the crap with sample proportion, mean, and mixing them up.
yeah, there's some vocabulary you got to get down.
Yes. So I do know about a few of these things that need to be fixed. I am excited though about the quiz today because I believe that was it, just that. And that's a big difference even week to week. Little mistakes, that's only one this time.
Yeah, little
So,
mistakes are fine. Big mistakes are not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Michelle,
Leaving it blank is a disaster.
Yes.
what is the chapter that we look to make an estimation that we, for example, we have a number and we want to make an estimation?
Well, could you say it a little bit differently? Because I'm not sure about that.
For example, remember how we were doing, what can be the estimation for the person that is tested 13 days after?
Oh, we just did that. That was that just the last chapter?
Is this ANOVA? Because ANOVA was the last chapter that we did.
Okay, the chapter before ANOVA.
Regression analysis.
Okay, great. Yes, regression analysis. I didn't know the name like that, but that was the chapter just before this.
Mhm.
Okay.
Any other questions?
The only that I had was for G. The other ones, I got it down.
Okay, let's take a look at G. What are the low and high estimates for the number of kokanee salmon that will run in Trout Creek this fall? Data has been collected over the last 40 years. Okay. So first thing, what is the survey question? Or what is the researcher going to write down on the piece of paper for the data, for all the data values or data things?
How many kokanee salmon have run in Trout Creek for the last 40 years?
Each year. Each
Yes.
year.
Each
Okay,
year.
so that's the first thing. So we're talking about quantitative.
Each year
Is that
for
clear?
the last 40. Yes.
Yeah, so now we're talking about quantitative data.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So we want a low and high estimate. What kind of thing gives you a low and high estimate? Hypothesis test or confidence interval?
Confidence interval,
Yep. So confidence interval has a low and a high estimate, right?
right?
We know it's quantitative.
Right.
Do we have two different groups or do we just have one group of things?
We just have one group of things, only kokanee salmon running in Trout Creek.
Mm-hmm. So what is this one?
Single population.
I don't know.
I'll scroll here. I don't know what you can't see. You'd already decided it was a confidence interval, right?
Yes. So this is a confidence interval for a population proportion.
Okay,
Is
but
it
you decided it was
quantitative or
quantitative,
qualitative?
remember?
Well, I haven't learned this yet, so I'm
Okay.
not going to be able to answer any of them. And now,
Proportions are for yes, no.
okay,
This wasn't yes, no.
okay. So then it's for population mean.
Exactly. There we go.
Okay.
Okay. So that was that one.
All right.
So it's not meant to be a trick question.
No, but they're very challenging, and they're intended to be, of course. But that's my challenge for today. It was either today or Sunday that's the challenge.
Yeah. And it's the most important, like, take home when you finish this class.
And
If you can't do this, then the whole class was a waste.
yes, well, I'm going to be able to do it.
Mhm.
And the this is on every single. We have these matching, but then it's also on every single question, like it was today for A on the quiz. What test are you using? Right.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. I don't always ask you for the name of the test, but if you don't know a test, you can't even start.
Right. If I don't know the name of the test, how am I going to go to the calculator? And on the quizzes, we know what the name of the test is because it's what we're studying that week.
Right.
So that's, extra no brainer.
Yeah.
But like today, ANOVA.
Yeah.
So I do try to complicate things a little extra
Mhm.
for myself in these things, and I am aware of that. So a lot of times in asking in asking any of the questions, I make it more of a big deal than it actually is, and miss some of what's happening in the beginning of each question. Then I've been making sure that I pay attention to no, just make it basic. Like sometimes, okay, for question A here, are automobile prices higher in South Lake Tahoe than in Sacramento? I automatically go, duh, they're higher in South Lake Tahoe. So
That's meaningless for this question.
yeah, it has nothing to do with it, and I overcomplicate it by going, oh, I already know the answer to this. It's Sacramento's cheaper. So
that doesn't help at all.
Nope. That's a personal thing that I battle in all of this also. So in making note of the things that I do to each question, I'm sort of taking those things back away from it. So I can
The only way that saying Sacramento's cheaper would help
is if I was actually buying a car.
No, because you know it's a hypothesis, because then you know it's a hypothesis test.
Oh, okay.
Do you see? Because the confidence interval is an interval between two numbers. And
right.
You didn't answer with two numbers, you answered with Sacramento's cheaper. Do you see?
Yes.
So that's how you know it's a hypothesis test. But you have to use that. You have to think about that. You know what I mean?
Yes. So in working on that, I will be memorizing all of these and their tips and their things, just like, oh, Sacramento just told you that was a hypothesis test. So
the thing is, you cannot memorize. You need to understand why everything is happening. And that's why I'm not going to be there in the exam for you. I cannot give you triggers to remember stuff. So it doesn't matter how much I tutor you, you need to do it on your own.
Which is why I recommend the app, because there's hundreds of them. And that way you won't be tempted to memorize.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do it today and then you go tomorrow, you'll get different ones.
Great.
So the app is a better study tool than this practice.
Definitely. And it has immediate feedback.
Yeah.
So that's great.
And do it until you get good at it, until you get them right.
Yep. That's my plan, is to write down everything that I can to know what these are, with all of their tips, their hints, their because of this, so that I can be studying it everywhere I go, everything I do while I'm doing it.
Yeah. Practice.
Exactly.
I'll see you at 3:30, Michelle.
See you then, Anna. Thank you so much. Larry, thank you so much. I had a good time today. It was a challenge, and I'm looking forward to beating that challenge.
All right. Well, it's been a great class.
Yes, so much. Thank you for everything. Truly, thank you for everything.
I wish we could be face-to-face, but we can't.
Right? Well, I hope that your next class, since you take summer off, I hope your next class is face-to-face.
No, they've already made the decision.
They already, yeah.
You know, I thought that someone was just saying that there was still, I knew that the decision had been made, absolutely, but I thought someone was saying that there were some classes they were still deciding that they may have.
Yeah, but not this one. Those are lab classes.
Only lab.
EMT and firefighters.
Yeah, lab and things that hands-on stuff.
So Larry, how many people was it more, was it less? Did you have more people drop or fail or not pass this session online than you would normally?
Oh yeah. Yeah, a lot more dropped.
So how
I don't know about fail yet, but a lot more dropped.
How do you handle that? Like, I mean, because
I can't do anything about it. I can't.
What happens in fall?
Huh?
What happens in fall?
Hopefully they'll understand what it's going to take to make it, because they'll have a little more preparation time. That's all I can do. I hope.
Oh, sure. I've been wanting to know since the first day, of course, how this was. So many people want to know what effect this COVID had on things. Yeah. So how many more people do you think that dropped? Like just more than 50% more?
Yeah, it's been messy.
Wow.
But not in calculus, just in this class.
What do you think the difference is?
Calculus students are very good with technology.
I'm very
yeah,
committed
totally.
because if you fail, you need to take the year after.
Yeah, that's true too. And they're STEM students. That's the difference.
That makes great sense.
Very good. I've only lost, I think, one student in the
Really?
whole class. Yeah.
How many people started our class?
I think
16.
16 that actually started and did it, you know.
And there's less than 5 left at this point, right?
Um,
Or about 5.
roster has more, I think, but not many more. So, yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for everything. I will never forget this class, most definitely. And I learned so much more in your class than I was supposed to. I learned how to operate this computer. I learned so many things, and I'm grateful for all of it.
Great. Well, I'm glad you learned. So it's been a pleasure.
Well, see you next week.
Okay.
Okay, bye. Thank you. See you at
All
3:30,
right.
Anna? Did we say 3:30?
Yeah.
Okay, see you then. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Okay. How's it going, Anna?
Can we stop the recording?
Oh, yeah. Let's stop. Thanks for reminding me. Stop share. Stop recording. There we go.